however you are rolling on this particular Thursday. A lot of stuff to dive into on the big show today. More free agency news around the NFL. Former Chicago Bear, former Oregon Duck. Blanking on Kyle Long's name. Kyle Long. Well, because his Twitter is Joel. It's like Joel1. Anyways, Kyle Long, who played for the Oregon Ducks. And obviously Howie Long's son. But Kyle Long, he threw out an idea on the internet yesterday. And I was like, that sounds familiar. That's an interesting take because all the eyeballs now are shifting to the Chicago Bears. And what do you do? Because obviously they want to draft Caleb Williams, according to all indications, is that they are going in with the number 1 pick. You got a number 1 pick. You don't waste it. So what do you do with Justin Fields? Well, you're not going to trade him to the Steelers because Russell Wilson's the quarterback there. You can't trade him to the Falcons because Kirk Cousins is the quarterback there. You're not going to trade him in division, plus Sam Darnold just signed with the Minnesota Vikings. The Washington Commanders have got the number 2 overall pick. And if you're not going to be giving up the number 1 for Caleb Williams, they're certainly not going to make a deal with you to go bring in Justin Fields. Vegas is intriguing, but it looks like the market for Justin Fields is getting smaller and smaller and smaller by the day, and certain teams are going to have to make a decision in a quarterback-heavy draft. Do we go out and make a move and bring in a young but with NFL experience quarterback like Justin Fields? Or do we trust our recruiting? Got college football in the brain. Do we trust our scouting? Do we trust our evaluation team and go in and draft Bo Nix mid to late first round? Do we go in and draft Michael Penix maybe as a second round steal? Do we try to maybe move up and grab a J.J. McCarthy? Because I think the first 3 are kind of slotted, right? Caleb Williams is going to go 1. Drake May likely going to go 2. Unless, I wouldn't put it past the Commanders to be like, that Jaden Daniels won the Heisman Trophy, He is a pretty electric quarterback, but I would imagine the first 3 picks are going to be Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels to the Bears, the Commanders, and the Patriots. I don't know if it's going to go exactly in that order. But if you're one of the teams that we have talked about for a ton of time on this program, because if you don't know by now, well, you haven't been paying a lot of attention. My theory is always, look, if you don't have your guy, then nothing else on your roster matters. Nothing else on your roster matters. Come off season, if you don't have your guy at quarterback, I don't care how many all-pro defensive tackles you have. I don't care how great your receiver weapons are. I don't care how good your right guard is. You could have all-pros everywhere. You don't have the guy at quarterback? Well, you're playing for peanuts. Cleveland Browns proved that last year. Cleveland Browns had weapons everywhere. A nasty defense with the, I'm using air quotes, defensive player of the year, because it should have been TJ Watt, but regardless. But they had to go get Joe Flacco off the couch. The New York Jets were poised to make a run at the Super Bowl, and I believe if Aaron Rodgers didn't pop a flat tire, play number 4 of his 2023 season, I think they would have had a decent chance of making the AFC title game because they have all the weapons. Guess what? Weapons with a quarterback doesn't matter. You can build everything up. You don't have a guy at quarterback. The rest of this, as Lieutenant Weinberg said in A Few Good Men, the rest is just smoke-filled coffeehouse crap. None of it matters until you get your quarterback. So that's why I've been so quarterback obsessed. And now you're starting to hear some rumblings. You might have heard them come down I-5 because the rumblings are coming from about, depending on traffic, 2.5 hours north on a good day, even though it's never good. You factor in the traffic around the Tacoma Dome and around the the JBLM. Probably takes about a good 3 hours up to Seattle. But those rumblings are, do the Seahawks need to go and take a look at Justin Fields? But also, Kyle Long said, keep Justin Fields, draft Caleb Williams, find your quarterback. Again, trust in your coaching, trust in your player development. And if you can't figure out, if you draft Caleb Williams, keep Justin Fields, and if you can't figure out by Labor Day weekend who your guy is, well, then you need to fire your entire football staff. If you can't figure it out by then, who is going to be your guy, and then by Labor Day, now you have a starting quarterback, and then you have a tradable asset. Then you go out and you find a backup quarterback. I floated this out a couple of weeks ago. I was laughed at. I was mocked by the guest who's going to be on the program coming up in hour number 3, Aaron Fentress. But, so that theory is being floated around. Louis Riddick of the NFL Network, I believe he's on the NFL Network. He says, yeah, Seahawks got to go make a deal. Go make a deal for Justin Fields. I agree. I don't think Geno's the guy. And if you can go out and get Justin Fields, have an actual legitimate quarterback competition, and then Geno Smith either goes back to a backup or wins the job, you're in a much better spot. So the quarterback news continues on in the NFL world. In the college football world, according to a report from USA Today, this is Brent Schrotenboer. Pretty sure I butchered that. With one of the highest recruiting budgets in all of college football, including a contract with a thing called Air Prime, which I didn't know was a thing. Deion Sanders has taken 0 home visits. That's 0, zilch, nada home visits. In a world in 2024 and 2023 where recruiting is more important than anything, right? We talked about Nick Saban yesterday. Good message, wrong messenger. But in an era where essentially player relationships are everything. Player relationships are everything because you not only have to recruit these high school kids and show them the love, you've also got to recruit transfer portal guys and show them the love, and you have to recruit your own players. Well, this entire time, Deion Sanders has had zero home visits.
There are coaches who have been fired and coaches who, like Jeff Hafley, have taken off for the NFL that had more home visits than that. Obviously.
No on-campus visits with recruiting prospects since he was hired in early December 2022. And it wasn't like he did it and then said, nah, I don't need to do this. Coach Prime did not conduct any off-campus recruiting visits, the school said in an email. This was back in February. By contrast, Jim Harbaugh, who just won the national title. Now, Jim Harbaugh is also coaching in the NFL right now. But Jim Harbaugh just won the national title. He had 145 off-campus contacts with recruits and their family members from December 2022 until he left for his NFL job. 145, leads the nation. Steve Sarkisian, 128. Chip Kelly, who never liked recruiting, he had 55 in-home visits.
I forgot they referenced Chip in there, too.
Because Chip Kelly is a coach that famously does not like recruiting. So, is there a way to think outside the box in terms of college football and recruiting? Is Colorado playing chess while the rest of college football is playing checkers? Or is Deion Sanders and his crew in Colorado trying to sell laziness as innovation, because that wouldn't be the first time that's happened. No. This is innovation. This is a new way of doing it. That new way of doing it, though, makes it so you don't have to work as hard. No. We're thinking outside the box. You're not opening up your mind. We're thinking outside the box here. So it is interesting the discussions around Deion Sanders this offseason as opposed to where we were a year ago. And they're not doing spring football this week, are they? Brenden, you're going down to Corvallis for spring football, right?
Oh,
with Trent Bray.
Yeah, it started last week. Actually.
Yeah, so the Beavers got spring football going. Oregon's got spring football going on as well. Colorado's got spring football going on? Oh, wait. No. They had to push it back a week, right? Because Deion was on a book tour. Because he can go and do visits for his book tour to book, like. You surprised book tours are still a thing? When was the last time you went to an actual bookstore?
I don't know if I obviously have been, but I can't tell you that.
Yeah. Like, I know we got pals here, and I know it's a very big deal, but, like, can't remember the last time I've actually been to a bookstore.
Yeah, so Colorado's on the semester schedule, and I mentioned that to you. That's a big difference because if you're on trimesters, you're trying to get some spring football in now, like Oregon State are doing before dead week and finals. So at least that's positive that Deion's not pushing it back to make his guys do football during finals week because, Justin, you remember finals in college. Not a great time to do football practice.
Well, I mean, you're talking to the wrong guy. I didn't really take academics all that serious. Probably should have taken it a little more serious. My approach to academic life did not change because we had dead week, and I was like, what's dead? Oh, sweet, dead week. Don't have to do anything. That's what I thought. And they're like, no.
You and I were on opposite wavelengths.
I know.
Opposite wavelengths.
It's like, hey, it's dead week. They can't give you any big assignments. It's dead week. And I'm like, oh, perfect. I get to chill. And they're like, yeah, you're supposed to be studying for the final. That's why it's dead week. But no. Dead week. Nothing is due. So I cannot have a missing assignment on dead week. That is a win for Justin. It's like, yeah, you're supposed to take that time and go to the library, do a little reading, do a little highlighting, maybe get ready for the final, maybe go back and look. It's like, yeah, no. I was like, dead week, beautiful. So we just get to kick it now? Awesome. We're going out on a Tuesday because it's dead week. Let's go. I was not on the academic plan that should be followed. Also, the Blazers get a win last night, and I am buying Shark Tank style. I'm buying DeAndre Ayton stock in a hurry. I am buying. I've been buying for the entire year, but we may have a little Blazers Shark Tank segment coming up next. Like, who? If you were one of the, like, if you look at where this team is and where this team needs to be, and you are putting your money into success for future Blazers, you're the Sharks. Who are you buying? So we'll talk about that coming up as well. Plus some funny, interesting stuff I saw on the internet. So fun-filled Thursday show capped off with Aaron Fentress joining us in a couple of hours in hour number 3. But before we get to all of that, I do want to tell you about Oregon's roofing, siding, windows, and bath experts. That's right. I am talking to you once again about DeBella. That's right. Because they are all about updating your home, beautifying your home, but more importantly, making your home more energy efficient, which saves you money. Win, win, win. Solar shingles up on your roof. Those things can potentially pay for your roof with savings to your energy bill. And there are also federal and state incentives that DeBella has all the details. How do you find out? Well, schedule an appointment. It's free. It's easy. Their estimates are convenient, and they are scheduled on a time that works for you. 15,000 five-star reviews on Google. That number keeps getting more and more every single day. You could be the next one. Plus, they have award-winning customer service that they've received accolades from Angie's List and Home Advisor. Plus, as I mentioned, saving you money. Well, How about 0 down, no payments till 2025? That's on approved credit, but 0 down and no payments until 2025. So check out DeBella today for a free, no obligation appointment for roofing, windows, siding, or your bath projects. Update your home. Make your home more energy efficient. Do it with a company that has 15,000 plus 5-star reviews. The Oregon experts are DeBella. All right, Blazers get a nice win last night. We'll take it. 19-46 on the season. We all know the story of the season. We don't need to rehash this. We don't need to be diving into this. We know what the reality is. But we've talked about it throughout these last couple of weeks and months, which is, are they tanking? Are they tanking? Clearly, they're not. They're not tanking, because you look at when this team is healthy, when certain guys are available, they're capable of competing. Now, I'm not going to get all jazzed about a win over the Atlanta Hawks. Hawks are Hawks even, are they a mediocre team? Well, how would you describe the Atlanta Hawks? They're not good. They're not awful, though.
Yeah,
they're a mediocre team. And you got a nice win. DeAndre Ayton played 41 minutes. I know that Scoot Henderson, I think he's on a minutes restriction, so he didn't start. Played just 17 minutes. Not a good night for Scoot. Tough. It's been a tough couple of games for Scoot since coming back from the All-Star game injury that he had. Hopefully this is just another, bump in the road for a rookie season that can be figured out, learned from, and moving forward. But the more I watch this Blazer team, and I watch all the games, right? I feel like it is not. I feel like I know it. It's my job to watch the games. I watch all. Viewership may be down, but my viewership is still at 100%. I watch all the games, and I was pretty pumped about the DeAndre Ayton move when they made it, because you had to do something with Nurkic. It's a pretty low consequence risk, but it was a risk. Like, DeAndre Ayton could have came in and said, "I don't want to be here." I went from playing with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker to playing with a bunch of rookies and playing with a bunch of cast-offs, and now I'm going to win maybe 20 games. Like, he could have pouted,
the Blazers
and
got the best deal possible for Damian Lillard.
But when you look at from DeAndre Ayton's perspective, right, on paper, sure, all of that, but DeAndre Ayton could have been like, I know I wasn't happy in Phoenix, but we were winning ball games and getting prepared to maybe go to the NBA Finals. Now I'm in Portland. I'm snowed in. Can't get out of my driveway, and we're going to maybe win about 20-some games. But when you look at the way he has been playing, especially the second half of the season, when healthy, he has been, I believe, by far the Blazers' best player. So last night went for 33 and 19 in 41 minutes. Against Boston, the only player that seemed to show up against Boston, 22 points, brought in 15 rebounds. In an overtime win against Toronto last Saturday, 30 points, 19 boards. He has had a double-double every single game, and the lowest total was a game against Miami, had 12 and 10, but before that against Charlotte, had 26 points, had 19 boards. This is the Blazers' best player right now as we sit, guy you can count on, and I said it last segment. If we are doing Portland Trailblazer Shark Tank right now, which I used to love Shark Tank, haven't really watched it as of late. You still watch Shark Tank?
We do.
Okay. Shark Tank got a little American Idol for me. Do you know what I mean? Like at the beginning of Shark Tank, it was like, hey, look at these companies and look at these entrepreneurs. They love saying entrepreneur on that show. By the way, you want to play a drinking game? Drink every time they say entrepreneur. You will be, it's a Friday night. It's Friday night. You will be toasty every time they say entrepreneur. They love saying that. But at the beginning of Shark Tank, right, it used to be like, hey, look at these go-getting entrepreneur. And sometimes you would get from the panel, like, these guys are rich. You get tough love. Like, no, I'm not investing in this. Your numbers are terrible. Your idea might be good, but the way you're going about things, you're spending money in the wrong places. I'm not touching this company. And you got some tough love. Now it feels like it's very American Idol where, like, everybody's great. You know what I mean? Like, they very rarely, like, turn down, like, the companies, right? On the latest version of Shark Tank?
No, I mean, there's still times when they push him away. Like I saw
No,
somebody.
it feels very like because American Idol went from, hey, you're not a good singer, or you're not good enough to make a living as a singer. You can go to the karaoke bar and probably be the best. There in middle of Missouri, but you're not going to make it here. This is a big, bad, tough world. You're not good enough. And I felt like that was what Shark Tank was at the beginning. And then it got to where it's like, hey, you're doing great. It's now gotten a little bit, everybody's great and everybody gets a thumbs up. Either way, I'm going to spend some fake money. Because if I'm looking at this Blazer roster moving forward, and you better be looking moving forward, because there's 14 games left in the season? Looking forward, who should the Blazers be investing in? Clearly, they're already locked into Scoot Henderson. Already invested in Scoot Henderson. That's a done deal. You spent a number 3 pick on him. You brought him in to replace Damian Lillard. Say what you will. That's not what we tried to do. Yeah, that's what you tried to do. We all know it. You know it. Let's move forward. You knew Dame wasn't going to be happy. You knew what was going to happen. You did it anyways. And then when Dame rescinded his trade request, you said, nope, we're too far down the road on this. So let's call a spade a spade. You'd already invested in Scoot Henderson. If I'm a Shark Tank, all of my investments going to DeAndre Ayton. And I don't know if it's particularly close, because the second best player on this team right now is Anthony Simons. And Anthony Simons just so happens to play the exact same position as the guy you are most invested in, which is Scoot Henderson. Now, Scoot Henderson, that's a long play, right? That is early money. Hopefully this, a couple of rounds of friends and family investors. I'm just throwing out terms I heard on Shark Tank. And hopefully this thing hits. And we were going to get into the ground early. But now, with Anthony Simons, plays the same position. I don't see a path where Ant and Scoot go together into the future for the Portland Trail Blazers. I don't see it. Maybe I lack vision. I don't know. But if I'm doing a diversified portfolio, every bit of the Blazers' attention needs to be around DeAndre Ayton, keeping him happy, because not only is he the best player on this team, he might be the best Blazer we have had, not named Damian Lillard, in the last 8 seasons. Now, I know that there is a case to be made for C.J. McCollum, and I realize that C.J. McCollum had big games and big moments in actual games that actually mattered. But you look at what DeAndre Ayton has been able to do in a season where, this is why I'm investing and I'm going all in on DA. Brenden, this is a season where DeAndre Ayton could have easily checked out. He could have. What's he got left on his deal? He's got 2 years left on his deal.
About $70 million.
$70 million on a team that is rebuilding. He doesn't have to go out on a Wednesday night and drop in 33-19 against the Atlanta Hawks on a Wednesday night. Doesn't have to. And the way he has played, especially, we hear about it all the time in basketball, right? It's that 3-2-1 Cancun. Has this team already made their flights to the Caribbean or to Mexico, knowing that, April 3rd was the final game for the Blazers? Either way, April 14th. Knowing that April 14th is right around the corner, right? We are a month away. A lot of these guys could have checked out, including DeAndre Ayton. That guy has been a numbers machine. And maybe instead of, building around a backcourt that is going to be far too small, maybe it's time to invest and build around a big guy in the middle who seems to be thriving. Now, I don't care if he's stat padding. If he is, I like him even more. Good for him. In all seriousness, right? Because that's going to be maybe the one criticism. Well, none of these games matter. So, okay, great. He's averaging in the last 10 games 25 and I think 25 and 16, something like that. This is the Blazers' best player. This is it. This is, as we sit here right now, DeAndre Ayton moving forward. If you were to bet who's going to make an all-star team, it's going to be him. If you were to bet. Who on this Blazer roster has a potential chance of actually making, and I'm not saying DeAndre Ayton's an all-star. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you had to pick one of these guys on this roster in the next 3 to 4 years to be an NBA all-star, DeAndre Ayton's the best case you got. He's the best player on this team. And if you were investing Shark Tank style in any player on this roster, I'm all in. I'm not going to give you a royalty deal. I'm not going to try to give you a shot clock like Mark Cuban does. Like, yeah. Physical ability, talent to play the game of basketball, and like they say on Shark Tank, the numbers are backing it up. The numbers are backing it up. Guy's a rebounding machine. And here's the other thing, because I still have, even though I am in my 40s, I still got 20/20 vision. I'm going to have to squint at the computer screen because this thing's way too small. But I still have 20/20 vision. When you watch this Portland Trailblazer team play, who looks competent on the court? It's DeAndre Ayton and it's Anthony Simons. And again, I'm going to stop pretending like Anthony Simons doesn't play the same position as Scoot Henderson. We're going to have to figure this out. Are you with me on this? Are you an investment partner with me on? Are you going to go partnered in on like the Shark Tanks do sometimes? Brenden, or you got other investments moving forward? Are you all in on DeAndre Ayton like I am?
Yeah, to an extent. I mean, there are things that, like, again, going back to our conversation yesterday, like, sure, but I'd like to see Malcolm Brogdon traded. I'd like to see that $20 million opened up to be another player that can go along to complement DeAndre Ayton for next year.
All right, hear me out. When you look at this roster, right, and where it is, we know that Scoot's not going anywhere. I've said DeAndre Ayton should be the biggest priority in terms of finding fit around him. Of players on this roster, who do you want to see stay? Who do you want to see stay? Because you've made your case. You want to see Malcolm Brogdon moved. I get more and more nervous about Shaedon Sharpe every single day. I know there's a fear there though. What's the fear with Shaedon Sharpe is that you're gonna maybe move on from Shaedon Sharpe in a year or two, and then ultimately he is going to pop. But of the players on the roster, we know Scoot's not going anywhere. I say next player who should not go anywhere is DeAndre Ayton, ever. Untouchable is untouchable. Hey, we'd like to talk to you about DeAndre Ayton. Click. That's who we're talking about. Who on this roster for you should be a priority moving forward? If you're trying to build a contender, who's a priority?
I mean, Jeremy Grant's obviously under contract for a while. I know he was thrown out there as, teams were interested. I wouldn't trade him, right? You look at his production, it's career highs this year, right? For the player that Portland got from Detroit and for what they gave up and for what he's making, good piece. And I think he fits next to DeAndre Ayton well. Anthony Simons, I'm not so sure on. It kind of depends on what happens with Scoot and Shaedon. But yeah, like there's a logjam of guards still. I do believe that Robert Williams should be on this team next year. I want to see him play. I don't want to see him go anywhere. Matisse Thybulle might be another guy who maybe becomes a casualty. But I don't know. Is there any value for him?
I have said this. When it comes to a lot of things, I'm a basic B. All right? I like my Starbucks. All right? I like my Bravo shows. I like mimosas at brunch. Call me basic, right? This is going to be my basic approach to the Portland Trailblazers looking ahead to next year. Ideally, now, math's not my strong suit. The math might not work, but if we're being honest with each other, right? If we're being honest with one another, isn't the best possible lineup / rotation of guys on this roster is, well, we know Scoot Henderson's going to be the point guard of this team next year because he has to be. We're done talking about that. He has to be. If he's not, other changes need to be made. Scoot Henderson's going. At some point, you have to try to not have a backcourt that is too small. You go Scoot, you go Shaden in the backcourt, move Jeremy Grant to the 3, which, by the way, when he's played at the 3, he's thrived. At least that's what the internet tells me. You go Robert Williams, and then and DeAndre Ayton. There's your starting 5.
Looks pretty good on paper. Malcolm
Brogdon is your backup point guard coming off the bench with solid leadership. Matisse Thybulle is your energy guy who can get steals, who can wreak havoc, and can be also play in the stretch as a perimeter defender. And, and then you get Duop Reith. He's good enough to play backup center in the NBA. You get Duop Reith as your backup center. Who doesn't fit in this equation? A player that everybody loves in Anthony Simons. And maybe a player that, I don't know, the Orlando Magic might want. You know what I mean? The Orlando Magic, there's going to be a team like the Orlando Magic who are going to be like, hey, we're pretty good, but we're not there yet. But that's, again, it might be too basic, but it's you have to put Scoot and Shaden. You have to let Baby Bird out of the nest and see if they can fly. You know what I mean? So many times, the Blazers have kind of coddled, don't want to bring him in too early. Don't want to bring him in too early. We want minutes restrictions, all that stuff, and I understand for health, but at some point, Baby Bird's got to leave the nest. And Scoot and Shaden are going to have to be in your backcourt. You got Jeremy Grant, who you got under contract already. You bring Brogdon and Matisse Thybulle off the bench. You get in foul trouble, Jabari Walker can come in off the bench. Maybe you hit in the draft, who knows? But wouldn't it be nice, Brenden, to go into next year not relying on a draft pick to hit? Not because we all bought into Shaden Sharp, what a mystery. Boy, if he hits, and he did some cool things early, then he got hurt, and then they tanked. He got to play down the stretch, though, last year, and then now he's hurt again. Scoot Shaden in the backcourt. DeAndre Ayton in the front court. There's your big 3. Build around them. Let's get some height. Let's get some length. And bring in Brogdon off the bench. Because you can't bring Anthony Simons off the bench. That peanut butter spread on that bagel. You go peanut butter on bagel or you go cream cheese?
Cream cheese.
Cream cheese is good. But every once in a while, peanut butter on bagel or almond butter on the bagel? You strictly peanut butter or you go dabble into the almond butter?
I don't eat a whole lot of bagels, so there's not a situation where I can say I don't think we have almond butter and I don't know where I put it on.
There was a time where, man, if I would just grab a big old
I'm the Nutella generation.
Nutella?
That was the one that we had. Growing up, we had a Nutella piece of toast before school. Yeah.
I just grab a big old scoop of peanut butter with a spoon. It's the best. Then I found out it's not that good for you. It's got protein and all, but yeah, it's not good for you. He's like, why does it taste so good? There's a lot of sugar in there. All right. Other news and notes around the NBA. We're going to dive into Luka's triple-double streak comes to an end. Comes to an end with a hamstring, unfortunately. But other news and notes around the league. That's next, 620 Rip City Radio. All right, nice win for the Blazers last night. We'll take it. What did we say? 25 wins? Wasn't that where we were kind of sitting out there at 19 right now? Think they can get to 25?
I think it'd be like 22, 23.
22, 23? I think I said 25 like 3 months ago. So feeling pretty good about that. I'll be honest, I just kind of threw out a round number. But hey, nice win. We'll take it when we can get it. We'll live in the moment. We'll live in the now. DeAndre, Ayton, and Anthony Simons played well last night. So the Blazers get the win. But other games of interest, other performances, other news and notes from around. The cool kids call it the association. I call it the NBA because it's what I grew up on. It's fantastic, and it's Round Ball Rock. Here we go. Hey, Blazers weren't the only team to get a win. Detroit Pistons get a win last night. They're not the worst team in the NBA anymore. That distinction belongs now to the Washington Wizards. So the Wizards and the Pistons, you think Pistons fans were upset they got a win last night over Toronto? They're like, dude, we're trying to play for some ping pong balls, guys. We want that bit. Because there's another French guy, right? At the top of the draft? I saw
Alex Sarr.
It's like he's like 7'3". He's not Wemby, but another big, tall French guy. The Bulls get a win over the Pacers in overtime. 46 points for DeMar DeRozan last night in the Bulls win. Magic and Paolo Banchero, they continue to move on. They get a win over the Nets. 21-9 for Banchero. Denver Nuggets, they get a win over the Heat. Bam Adebayo did go for 17 and 13, but here come the Nuggets again. Denver Nuggets now with that win, they overtake Oklahoma City. Are we just like, okay, let's do a little first take style segment here real quick. Team that has the biggest risk of being eliminated before getting to the finals, Nuggets or Celtics, go.
Nuggets, just for complacency.
You think so? You don't think the Nuggets got that fire? You don't think they got that dog in them? You don't think they got that? They're looking for that dynasty, that back-to-back.
I think they're going to run the NBA for probably the next 5 to 8 years, as long as Jokic is elite. I just think that they could be like, that's something the Chiefs figured out the second time they were in the Super Bowl back-to-back, and then even have admitted, we didn't, they said that the Super Bowl against Tom Brady, they weren't quite as attentive as they were the first time, right? And it's like kind of the same thing. It's like once you're not the hunter and the hunted kind of a thing.
I'm with you.
I think Boston is just a little hungrier, and I think it will take a lot for them to get knocked out, but who knows, right? Same token, like I wouldn't be surprised.
You mentioned complacency. The Celtics have got a 9.5-point lead on the East. They're going to be the number 1 seed in the East. They could rest guys towards the end. Whereas like the Nuggets, the Thunder, the Timberwolves, and I'll throw the Clippers in there, even though I don't think Kawhi, again, mentioned it yesterday. Kawhi left the arena. He got hurt last night, or no, 2 nights ago. But you're going to have kind of a nice little battle there to try to get the number 1 seed. I just don't know who's going to stop Jokic in the postseason, in the Western Conference. Like when you think about if you had to pick a team that you said, all right, this team I think can get 4 wins against the Nuggets. I know who I pick. Who would you pick?
Timberwolves. Size.
With Karl Anthony Towns back from the knee.
And Gobert. You throw 2 guys that are 7 foot at him, maybe you got a shot. Got to play 5-on-4, though.
Could you get one series of motivated Nurk in Phoenix? I think you could.
But you're back. But every time Nurk comes off the floor, you're going to Drew Eubanks. No disrespect. I love Drew Eubanks.
Yeah, but they have, with Booker and Durant, don't you have enough offensive firepower to kind of overtake it? That would be my pick. But
I can see it.
I'll be honest. I've always been kind of Kevin Durant obsessed. And I don't understand why he doesn't average like 40 points a game, because he doesn't seem to miss anytime. I just don't see who's going to beat the Boston Celtics in the East. Like neither one's going to be an easy task, but I think we're headed to a Boston-Denver final. Let's see. What other games of note? Hey, Donovan Mitchell comes back for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They get a win over the Pelicans. Zion did drop in 33. Zion's been awful quiet this season. Why haven't we, what happened there? We couldn't get enough. We couldn't get enough of Zion, right? Zion's out of shape. Zion can't get it done. Looking at, he played 54 games this year. I guess his numbers aren't that great. He's like, 22, 5, and 5, those aren't all-star numbers, but still the fact that we all said Zion isn't going to be able to withstand a season. He's played 54 games. He's going to play the majority of games this season. Doesn't seem to be like as big of a discussion topic as he has been in years past. Do we miss making fun of the fat Zion?
Yeah, I just wonder if Wemby's taken some of the highlights this year, even though the Spurs have been terrible. But again, he broke through the rookie wall. Yeah, they just haven't quite been as elite as we thought they would be, right? I mean, I thought the Pelicans would be better.
They're fifth. I mean, they're in fifth place.
They're fifth, which is not bad, but before Zion got hurt last year, they're first in the West. So things change, obviously, but I still thought that team could be a sleeper and make some noise. I really could see that.
It's just interesting like that. You could discussion topics Zion was probably top 5 of all discussion topics in the NBA last year. And mostly for weight and off the court stuff, Instagram and all that. But
has been 9 months.
It has been. All right. Coming up, we have got Make or Miss. We've got some more football stuff to talk about. Do the Seahawks need to be going after Justin Fields? Should the Seahawks continue to do their due diligence to maybe try to find another quarterback coming into this roster? We'll talk about that next. 620 Rip City Radio. It is 7 a.m. on a Thursday morning. Justin Myers with you. Blazers get the win last night. They take down the Atlanta Hawks 106-102. DeJounte Murray did drop in 40 for the Hawks, but the combined 69 points from DeAndre, Ayton, and Anthony Simons led the way for the Blazers to pick up the big win at Moda Center. Pac-12 basketball tournament going on in Las Vegas. Oregon State goes down to UCLA 67-57, ending their season. But reports from the Oregonian is that Wayne Tinkle will not be going anywhere. He will be the Beavs head basketball coach next season. Well, UCLA, they now face Oregon, who was slotted into the number 4 spot, received a first-round bye. That tip time is approximately 2:30 at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Friend of the program, Aaron Fentress from the Oregonian, joins us in hour number 3. But hour 2 of Rip City Mornings, it starts right now on 620 Rip City Radio. All right, welcome back to Rip City Mornings, everybody. Hopefully you are having a fantastic Thursday. It's going to be nice today. Can already tell. Sun's going to be out. We got yards to mow. We got some spring cleaning to do this weekend, Brenden. Got some vacation stuff I got to get tidied up before I head out to the beach in about a week and a half. But regardless, you guys don't care about that. You do care that it's going to be nice out, though. It is, I don't know how to explain it, but have you noticed, and I don't know if you travel about town as much as I do, because you go south to Corvallis, and other than that, you kind of stay to the, you don't go chasing waterfalls, you stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. When the sun comes out, traffic is different in this city. It's so weird. I can't explain it. I can guarantee you that traffic is good. Like the nicer and nicer it gets, the earlier and earlier, like what some would call rush hour seems to be. It's already about 3:30, and like the more the sun comes out, maybe we should talk to Lynn Masterson about that. She's not here, but like every once in a while, she's in the other room. We should talk to Lynn Masterson. What's the deal with when the sun comes out, this city just says, I guess we're calling it a day. We got Make or Miss coming up in 20 minutes. We're going to dive into this Deion Sanders thing. Deion Sanders made no at-home visits, and I'm fascinated by this. I have tried to react to Deion Sanders' impact in college football, not overreact, not underreact, and I don't think he is reinventing the wheel and doing everything that everybody has been wanting to do. I also don't think he is a complete and utter fraud. I do think a lot of this is a bit of a grift. I think I'm using that correctly. Grift and gaslighting, 2 terms, Brenden, I don't like. I think people misuse them too much. No, you're gaslighting me. It's like, no. They're just being mean to you. That's not gaslighting. This is a grift. Like, do you even know what that means? Anywho, there is a bit of the whole Deion Sanders thing that is kind of a grift, because you look at the headline. The headline in USA Today, Deion Sanders' unique recruiting style at Colorado. 0 home visits since 2022. Unique recruiting style. They're 4-8. They're 4-8. Like any other coach in America, in all seriousness, like what other coach in America could go 4-8? Now, again, took over a 1-11 team, got them to 4-8. That's a normal progression, but could you ever imagine, like, hey, coach, you're 4-8. You've taken no at-home visits. We have a $200,000 Wheels Up account for you to use this private jet. You haven't used it once. So we definitely want to dive into that coming up in a bit. But it is going to be the offseason of quarterbacks. I think it seems to be more and more and more of a priority in the NFL world. And I think a big chunk of that is what Patrick Mahomes is doing. Patrick Mahomes is proving that you can lose running backs, you can lose receivers, you can lose defensive players, but as long as you have a special talent at the quarterback position, you are going to at least make the playoffs. And you at least make the playoffs, you got a chance to go and win the Super Bowl. And so all of these NFL teams, I think more so even than they were in the past, are now searching for the guy, searching for the quarterback over and over again. And so it's what the Pittsburgh Steelers are doing, right? In years past, I don't think any team would give up so fast on a second-year quarterback like Kenny Pickett, who showed some promise, but also showed some bumps. But it was like, yeah, he was a rookie. He was a second-year guy. You fired his offensive coordinator. It's like, yeah, but we got to win now. And Russell Wilson's out there. And if we can get into the playoffs, if we can just get into the tournament, catch lightning in a bottle, we got a chance to win it all. And I think some of this is Patrick Mahomes. Brenden, how much of this is still what the Rams did a couple years ago?
Yeah, I mean, it worked, so that's the thing.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
It's not a guarantee, but you look at what the Rams did a couple of years ago, which was essentially say to their decent quarterback, sorry, but we're gonna move on and we're gonna go here and we're gonna go for broke. Because when you go for broke and you win that Super Bowl, guess what? That ring's on your finger forever. That banner flies forever, and that Super Bowl trophy does not get reclaimed if you don't win it the next year like the Stanley Cup. And so I think when you look at like the Steelers, like, hey, Kenny Pickett might work, but if we get a little bit of a bump with Russell Wilson, and at 1.2 million, and we just get into this tournament and we catch a run, boom, we got a shot. I think the Atlanta Falcons are thinking the same thing, right? Because normally, if you were the Atlanta Falcons, like, say Desmond Ritter's not the guy. Like, why? Why would you pay an aging quarterback coming off of an Achilles tear $45 million a year for 4 years? Because you think you got the pieces in place to win now. That's why. You roll the dice and go, we got a shot. We could maybe potentially win now. And so that's where I wonder, like, do the Seahawks need to maybe roll the dice here? And I don't know if Justin Fields is going to be the guy to get it done. I don't know it, but I can say I don't know if Geno Smith is the guy. And Louis Riddick, he's a NFL analyst from ESPN. He tweeted out yesterday, said, go and get Justin Fields, Seahawks. I've been saying it all day. You have one QB on the roster. Go get Justin Fields. Let him compete. On Get Up this morning, where is Justin Fields' next team? Seahawks were one of the 4 teams that were mentioned, along with the Giants. The Vikings, which I don't get, because if you're the Bears, there's no way you trade Justin Fields to a team in the division as you are drafting a rookie to start.
Nobody else wants him, though. Put you in a rock and a hard place, right?
Let's just. I think the Seahawks need to make this move.
Yeah,
I really. If they can't get J.J. McCarthy. Now here's the problem, right? Because from what I have been hearing in Seattle is that they love J.J. McCarthy, that they are fully enamored with J.J. McCarthy. Well, if he's not there by the time you draft in the first round, you might not have a chance to get any quarterback because you don't have a second-round pick, right? They might all be gone. So what do you I think if you're the Seahawks, depending on like what the price tag is going to be, don't mortgage your future on Justin Fields. But Mac Jones, who has arguably had better numbers, just went for what, a 6th-round pick? Like, what do you think the market, like if you were the Seahawks and let's say the Bears were like, all right, look, we're drafting Justin Fields, or excuse me, we're drafting Caleb Williams. We can't have both these guys on the roster, even though I think that would work. We need a 4th and a 5th-round pick. If you're the Seahawks, you make that deal, don't you? 4th-round pick? Nowhere near a 1st-round pick, because obviously you learned your lesson with Jamal Adams. You don't have a 2nd-round pick. You have to pick somebody. If the Bears want a 4th-round pick for Justin Fields, give it up?
Yeah, I would. I mean, at the same token, I think it's kind of interesting now that you obviously are alluding to the fact that Drew Lock signed elsewhere. And it's like now when you look at it, Justin, the only player remaining from that Russ trade is Noah Fant.
Yes.
Like, which is kind of fascinating. You know, obviously they got the picks, but like, you know, none of those players have hung around.
Not the players, but I think 2 of the picks are already they're in the starting lineup.
Yes.
So like they've been hitting home runs with the draft picks.
Yeah, for sure. But like I found that interesting. It's like, you know, no one else on, you know, that to make the money, it was literally to make the money work.
Mm-hmm.
And
because I don't think they were making that move for the picks and to essentially get Russ off the books, like you said. And they're like, and then they kind of rolled the dice on Drew Lock. Right? They're like, I don't know, maybe this kid comes in and he can, because they had like a legitimate competition. But I think you go and you get Justin Fields. But let's go back to what we were talking about with the Vikings. You said if there's no other options, if you're the Bears and the only option is the Minnesota Vikings, a team in your division, a team that has a legitimate weapon in Justin Jefferson, who's their tight end that's like really good? The Vikings have like a tight end that's really good.
Oh, Hawkinson.
TJ Hawkinson, that's right. You got Hawkinson, you got Justin Jefferson, you got weapons. If you're the Bears, you can't give your divisional rival a quarterback with those kind of weapons. But like you said, what if there is nothing available? What's better to do? Keep him on the roster? And do a quarterback competition between Caleb Williams and Justin Fields and go, all right, boys, figure it out, or trade him in the division and risk it working. And then Justin Fields is now beating you twice a year for like the next 4 or 5 years. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it might.
Yeah, you can't.
It might.
It's a no-win situation, but you can't say those two guys were not cordial towards each other. It would destroy your already terrible organization. So,
but that's when you have to do like the Shaq Kobe thing. Then you got to pick one. Right? You got till Labor Day to figure it out. You got to pick one. Competition, like I think you're on it. This is where I always talk about there's the paper and then there's the human part of it. And the human part of it's a little bit tough because here's where that whole scenario of keeping Justin Fields would get dicey. Here's where it gets dicey. What if Justin Fields beats him out? Right? We see it in college football all the time. All the time, where let's say the starter isn't exactly lighting the world on fire, so everybody believes that the 4-star, the 5-star guy that's playing backup is clearly better. I saw it at Oregon. They started chanting for Ty Thompson. Started chanting for him. And it was like, yeah, that kid's not ready. He never was ready, and he never took a significant snap except for one game against Washington. But really never took a significant snap for any.
Where'd he end up?
I think he's at Arizona.
He flirted with my Beavs for a minute.
Yeah, I want to say Arizona, but I could be wrong.
The Tulane Green Waves.
Tulane, that's where he ended up. He's from Arizona, that's right.
Yeah, the Green Waves have a long way to go.
They got that 12-team playoff now, though. They might be the Gonzaga of college football. But we see it so much, right? In where it's like, oh, I'm sure there were probably Beaver fans last year. Like DJU was okay, but they were like, does Ayton Childs need to be playing? Does Ayton Childs need to be starting? You know that those things happen.
Those conversations have already happened at spring football, just internally, and it's like the narrative that exists is that like DJU completely underperformed. Like he could have done a lot more. So like it was slightly better, but like yeah, to that extent, you're totally right.
Did they let him cook though? Who knows? Again, I could go on for days and days about how not all transfers are created equal. It's a little bit different when you transfer in with your offensive coordinator and the offense you've been running as opposed to then transferring in with a completely foreign offense and a completely foreign offensive coordinator. And guess what? It doesn't click in 3 months. All right. We've got Make or Miss. We're going to talk some Dion stuff as well. But Make or Miss, that's coming up next, 620 Rip City Radio. All right, coming up in an hour from now, Aaron Fentress is going to be joining the show from the Oregonian, get his thoughts on the final stretch run for the Blazers, potential moves for the offseason. We talked Bears with him last time. Not much has really changed, but Justin Fields maybe going to be headed to the Seattle Seahawks. So we will talk to Fentress. He's also a guy that, if I remember right, fills out multiple brackets. We're a week away. We're a week away from like the actual official March Madness. Brackets are going to be filled out over the next couple of days after Selection Sunday. Brenden? Do you fill out multiple brackets, or I fill out one? Mostly because of attention span. I don't have the multitasking ability.
I usually like to do about 10 men's and 10 women's.
20 brackets.
Typically, yeah, if I can do it.
And they're all different champions and different Final Fours in every single one of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, kind of. It's like it's like buying lottery tickets, right? The more that you play, the better odds you have to win.
Is that how lottery tickets work, though?
Well, if you don't buy a lottery ticket, you can't win the lottery.
I understand. I will fill out one bracket. I fill out one, though, and I then enter it like multiple times. But I try to keep it the same. But it's mostly because I don't have the attention span. I don't have the attention span to like, wait. And it's like people that do like multiple fantasy football teams. That's you. Like, how do you keep track?
I mean, it's not that hard. I mean, just like checking in on the app for like 10 minutes once a week for waiver day, and then once a week Saturday night. Like, it's not too bad.
It's too much. It's too much to figure out. All right, so Fentress is going to be joining us in an hour from now, but right now it is time for Make or Miss. Here we go.
All right, firing up Make or Miss here on a Thursday. Dion doesn't sound like he's putting in the work.
All right, there's two ways to think about this. For context, for those that are just joining the program, first off, where you been? Second off, according to a report from USA Today, since being announced as Colorado's head football coach, Deion Sanders has made 0 in-home visits. Now, part of this can be explained with the fact that he's just not recruiting high school kids, right? And if you're not recruiting high school kids, what is the point of in-home visits, right? If you're just recruiting kids out of the transfer portal, they're going to come to you. It's not like you could go to an in-home visit, right? So he's not recruiting a lot of high school kids. So this is either a new way to go about this, right? Like, this is a what do they call it in tech? Like, it's a disruptor, right? Uber came along and was like, all right, we don't do taxis anymore. And I'm sure at some point there was like on your phone, and it's like, yeah, we don't do taxis anymore. We do Ubers now. So it's either that, or it's what I believe, which is Dion is relying on fame, celebrity status, and name recognition to be able to get recruits, and not on the legwork, which has never worked before. Now, Brenden, there were coaches in the past that were famous that didn't go and do in-home visits, but they were usually it was legendary coaches in the latter parts of their careers that Bobby Bowden was a closer, right? Florida State would bring you in. You would get into Coach Bowden's office. He'd say, all right, boys, what are we going to do? And he was a closer. Maybe Deion Sanders has got the clout to be able to pull that off. But you hear more and more from these coaches. They're always talking about it's relationships. It's relationships. Even if you don't get the recruit. I've heard Dan Lanning say this so many times, that even if we finish in second place, we're okay. Because Dante Moore might not like what's going on at UCLA, and he may change his mind and come to Oregon. And now you got 2 quarterbacks. And I don't know if you can get those relationships and those transfers if you don't have a one-on-one face-to-face discussion. But then again, Brenden, I don't know the kids. And I saw, one of the other parts of this article was that Deion is kind of banking on the fact that, look, NIL and technology with texting, DMs, Instagram, FaceTime, all that stuff, do you really need to go and make an in-home visit? I think you still do. But
let me put it this way.
We're going to wait and see. Like, he's either a disruptor or this is step one in what is ultimately going to be the crumbling walls of the prime empire in Colorado.
Let me put it this way. Oregon State had 3 players come in from Colorado the offseason, including 2 players on Deion's quote-unquote horrible offensive line.
Yeah, they're terrible. According to him. You got to go get new linemen. He said that in the middle of the season.
So I'm very curious when I can talk to one of those 2 gentlemen kind of one-on-one a little bit, kind of find out, I have a feeling that, and I think we've heard this, that, like, A, if you're not one of Deion's guys, you're in the way. And it's been that way at Colorado since the moment he got there.
Yes.
And B, I don't know. I'll tell you one thing, Justin. Every youth is different, and that's why I say, like, especially now, like, you're recruiting 15 to 18-year-olds, and then you're recruiting college kids. So it's like 2 separate forms of recruiting. You have your young kids, then you have your college kids who you're trying to recruit too. And Deion's got the clout as a player, but, like, if you're a 5-star and say you're in the transfer portal and you got 1 or 2 years left, you sure you're going to be going to a bowl game in Colorado?
Well, that's the thing. If he wins,
then
he gets to do whatever he wants.
Yes.
If he gets to 7 or 8 wins next year, if he flips it and goes 8-4 instead of 4-8, then guess what? We are going to hear about how Deion Sanders has disrupted the game. His recruiting style is it's the future. This is what everybody is doing. He goes 4-8 again, and there's going to be a lot of people looking around going like, you maybe going to hop on a plane and maybe find a recruit this time? Instead of just relying on name recognition and relying on celebrity status, I still believe it's like birthday cake for dinner. That's what I believe with Colorado and Deion Sanders. I think it was birthday cake for dinner. It sounds good at the time, but I don't think it's sustainable. And all of a sudden, ESPN's going to start looking at the numbers and be like, 4-8, back-to-back years. The Rock's not coming to your sideline. Lil Wayne's not doing pregame concerts, doing the Mo Millie. Is that what it was called? Was that Lil Wayne, or is that?
Right? You said a Millie? Yeah.
A Millie.
Yeah. That was Wayne.
I don't know the Lil Wayne songs.
Even Wayne is one of those guys who, I know we've had this conversation with Devon. He hit his peak when you were like my age. And Wayne now is like one of those guys, like, I look back and go, like, absolutely, like 2009, Lil Wayne, you bet. But, like, just like Lil Wayne's not the forefront of rap music right now, or R&B, or whatever you want to call it. I guess more rap, Lil Wayne, right?
Oh, Lil Wayne is 100% rap.
Yeah. I'm like,
hip hop.
Yeah, I'm like, it's.
You said like.
I don't like to put things into a box, so it's like music is music.
At some point when I was a kid, it was rap music. Now, maybe in the culture, because I was obviously in Winston, Oregon, it was always hip-hop, but, like, it was rap music. And then Naughty by Nature came out with Hip Hop Hooray, which is an awesome song and a banger and still hits to this day. But they came out with hip-hop, and all of a sudden now it's like it was rap and hip-hop. Like, it got at the Sam Goody. Do you know what Sam Goody is? When I say Sam Goody.
No.
I love it. Sam Goody was a music store at the mall. That's where you would go buy CDs. You would go to Sam Goody and you would buy the CDs.
Gosh, there's still 2 stores left in the country.
There's 2 Sam Goodies?
Yeah, left in the country, man.
There was
at 2. Oh my. Okay, we might have to check on this, Justin, because supposedly this was a year ago. As of August 2023, there was one in the Ohio Valley Mall.
Boom.
Okay, in St. Clairsville, Ohio. and one in the Rogue Valley Mall
Let's
in
go,
Medford.
Rogue Valley.
I'd be curious to contend that.
I have been to the Rogue Valley Mall.
Yeah.
I can say that with quite confidence. I've been to that particular mall. But yeah, all of a sudden it was rap and hip hop, and now it's just kind of hip hop is what they call it. All. And if you say rap, you kind of sound old, don't you? That's one of those.
Dude, it's still rocking down there in Medford, dude. It is still there. I actually have to take an impressive moment that because it's like a music store, no? That a music store still exists.
Yeah.
That's incredible. How
Other than because we have like Music Millennium here, which is like it's like a record store.
Yeah.
It's in that it kind of feeds off nostalgia. Sam Goody is just an outdated version.
That's impressive. Like to know that Apple Music and Spotify and everything else have not pushed them out.
What's the last CD you bought?
2020 Experience, Justin Timberlake, 2013.
Like you went and physically bought that, and you remember that's the last one you bought.
And ever since then, I was introduced to the beautiful world of streaming service.
Yeah.
And it paid my money every month since 2014 and never looked back, baby. 10 years now.
It was you would it's like, oh, that was the other thing. You kids never you went and bought an album. An album? That's such a gamble. Like it's $15. It's $15 for an album.
Actually, I think
two songs on it. It's like that is such a gamble.
Yeah, I think the statute of limitations has passed, but even that's the case, Justin, is like I remember buying that because I was what do you call it? I was a high school kid who had a crappy car, and that crappy car didn't have any aux ports.
Yes,
right?
You had to have the CD.
Had to have the CD. But before that, again, you want to talk about my generation was that disruptor in the music industry because, again, I remember the times when it was Pirate Bay and LimeWire.
Oh, yeah, that ruined your computer so fast.
Mom and Dad
Share.
Yeah, Mom and Dad may have got a virus. Don't know anything about that, though. But, and
what was the plate? Like it was
mid-2000s?
What was it was the antivirus thing.
Oh, like McAfee?
McAfee.
With the dude who's actually
not the punter, but like actually like McAfee, and you would go like McAfee and they would scan your computer, and it was like, you have 4,000 viruses on this computer. And I was like,
how many of them belong to the Pirate Bay?
I was I think I was a LimeWire guy.
I
was a Bear Share guy. First, I
used whatever I could.
I was early Napster. Like, I remember when Napster was the thing. My roommate in college, he was afraid of Napster, so wouldn't let us download songs on his computer.
He was probably safe, smart.
He was very smart. Jeff Mallory was his name. I think he's an airline pilot now. But yeah, Jeff Mallory had a computer. He was like, yeah, no, we're not doing Napster. And I'm like, but the guy down the door, like, he's got 1,000 songs all on Napster. And because back then, high-speed internet you only got that in the dorm. There was no high-speed internet in the house. That was dial-up is what you got. And it took forever to download something. But yeah, Jeff Mallory was like, yeah, you can't do Napster. I'm like, you can write term papers, you can surf the internet you cannot do Napster on my computer. I was like, we get 1,000 songs. Probably why Jeff Mallory's flying airplanes now. And I'm still complaining about it. What were we talking about?
Yeah.
Deion Sanders.
And Sam Goody specifically, but yes.
Well, Sam Goody was the spot, though. That was the place where, like, you would just kind of hang out. And the best is if you knew a dude who worked at Sam Goody, who, like, did not care that you were underage and would sell you parental advisory CDs. That was the best. It was like, who's working? That guy? Nope. That guy's a stickler. He's never going to, but when Cody comes in, we're buying the new Snoop Dogg right now. Right now. I'm fascinated to see what happens with Deion Sanders in Colorado. I don't think they're going to be very good, though. I just don't.
Let's look, shall we?
We did this a couple of weeks ago. I think I got him at like maybe 4 wins, but They got a couple gimmies in there. I don't know if they're going to make a bowl game.
Yeah, like let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Like again, I see a possibility where they could win all three non-conference. I see a possibility.
I don't think they beat Nebraska.
Like I said, they did this last year, right? So
yeah, but remember
I just say a possibility.
Last year it is a possibility.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. It's just a possibility that they could get 2 or 3 wins in there, and then I look and I'm like, they're probably not going to beat any of the ranked teams on their schedule, but could they beat like Tech? Could they beat Cincinnati? Could they beat UCF? I could see a path to them getting to like 6, Justin, but no more than that. Not unless Dion has done some miracle working behind the scenes, and who knows? Maybe
he's not. But he's on his book tour though. He's not coaching.
True. Hey man, maybe the players are self. It's like NFL, Justin. They're self-pacing themselves. They don't need Dion. Not right now, anyway.
We've tried this in college football so many times. It's
like Herm.
It's never worked. It's been tried before. This is not new. We'll see. Maybe I'll have egg on my face. All right, you got one more?
So let's go ahead and get to one we didn't get to yesterday. Mahomes is on the Brady path in more ways than one.
Yeah, because he's already restructuring contracts.
So I went back and looked.
He's got to win 4 more, though. That is so hard. He's not even halfway there.
Dude, what if he was like, let me ask you this, make or miss. Mahomes will win. Say he does win all 7. Would he do it all with one organization? Like Brady, you would have never thought he would have went somewhere else and won a title.
I'm gonna say yeah. I think at some point Patrick Mahomes is going to play quarterback for another team because I think he's linked with Andy Reid. And Andy Reid at some point is going to retire. And I know it's a bit unfair that we keep, like, if Andy Reid was not a bigger man, would we call for his retirement?
You mean bigger as in wider or bigger as in, like, a gravitas figure?
Physically.
He's a large man. It's fair to say.
Pete Carroll is older than Andy Reid. And, like, nobody was saying, hey, is Pete Carroll going to retire? Is Pete Carroll going to retire? We always say that about Andy Reid, and I think it's because he's a bigger dude.
Dude, he's got 7 years on Andy Reid.
Yeah. We never saw, what do we hear about Pete? Oh, he's spry. He's out there.
Silver Fox, baby.
Andy Reid, back-to-back Super Bowls. Like, are you going to retire? It's like, if he wasn't a bigger dude, would we ask that question? I don't think we would. But that being said, I don't think he's going to coach Patrick Mahomes his entire career. And at some point, new coach is going to come in, and organization is going to be like, we got to start over. Because that's what organizations do.
So let's just think best case scenario. Belichick and Pete both were, I think, the oldest in record.
Yeah, they're nearly 70.
So, no, Pete's 72.
Or in 70.
Yeah, something like that. So
Belichick was nearly 70.
Yeah, so let's just say Andy Reid being 65, let's just say for sake of argument, he gives him 6 more years. That seems like a lot, but let's just say he's in good health, all those things. Justin, even that would mean Patrick Mahomes is 34?
Yeah, a year younger than Russell Wilson right now. A year younger than Russell Wilson.
And
he's going to play for another
And this is where I hate to say it quickly as a Brady fan, Justin, if he is on the path of Brady and plays even somewhat and ages somewhat into his 40s, dude, he's not coming for Brady's rings. He's coming for Brady's records, too.
Those records are all going to get broken. They are, because it's the 17 games. And here's the other thing. They're going to go to 18 games. They're going to. It's just like, I don't know. I just know. They're going to be going to 18 games. And all the passing records are going to get shattered. All right. We're going to be wrapping up hour number 2 coming up next. But before we do that, I do want to tell you again about DeBella, who is Oregon's roofing, siding, windows, and bath experts. You are looking to improve your home. You've been looking around going like, man, I've been dreaming of a new bathroom. Well, you know what? Now's the perfect time. Because not only can you beautify your home, not only can you update your home and up your home's value, but you can make your home more energy efficient. And that saves you money on those energy bills. Plus, what's up on top of your roof? Because you could throw some solar shingles up there and potentially pay for a brand new roof with savings to your energy bill and with federal and state incentives. All you got to do is get a free and convenient estimate from DeBella. Their work has been in Better Homes and Garden, HGTV. They've got 15,000 plus 5-star reviews, and they are offering 0 down and no payments until 2025 on approved credit. You hear me talk about this a lot, and you've been looking around. Is it time? Is it the time? Today is the time to contact DeBella for a free no obligation appointment, roofing, windows, siding, bath. The Oregon experts are DeBella. All right, time to wrap up hour number 2. Now, I am not aware of this website that I just found. Brenden, have you ever heard of PropStoreAuction.com?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I just learned about this because Prop from a very famous movie was recently sold at auction, and it was like, oh, it's through PropStar, and I'm looking at the things that are available. You could potentially get an Avatar rifle. Now, I never watched Avatar, but apparently they had like these guns. This is the 2009 Avatar. About somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000. But I saw this during the break. Let's see, Back to the Future, Marty McFly's guitar, an entire spacesuit from Armageddon is up for grab. The paper.
Is it the one where they tore off the patch and said, hand it to Truman?
Yeah.
Nice. Beautiful.
100%. The papers from Back to the Future, too, because remember, the papers kept changing. That's how they know if they were doing the right thing in Back to the Future, too. But anyways, but a huge, huge item was recently purchased. C-3PO from Star Wars. Not even the entire costume, just the head. Just the head part of C-3PO was recently sold at auction. Don't Google it, Brenden. I'm curious. Let's play the Price is Right game. All right? Price is Right.
No worries.
Game.
I'm too busy looking at the Titanic memorabilia that they have.
I've lost you for the entire show, haven't I? Now that you are on the prop store.
I've kind of seen stuff.
I've lost you.
Yeah, I've kind of seen stuff like this before, but not quite this in depth.
But it's all
yes.
right there. I was like, this is.
But anyway, yes, let's play.
C-3PO's head recently sold.
So just the head as like
just the head.
Can you wear it or no? Can your head go into it, or is it just a head sitting on like a desk somewhere?
It's unclear.
Okay, that's kind of a
It's
difference.
unclear if the head is actually wearable.
Star Wars has got some.
Now, I think it was meant to fit the dude. The guy's name's Anthony Daniels.
Okay, gotcha.
So I don't know if it was like, like you get like a fitted hat. I don't know if C-3PO's head. But
I'll say
somebody's head was in there at one point.
I'll say $10,000.
You're not even close.
Lower or higher?
Way higher. Give you one more guess.
$200,000.
$850,000.
Jeesh.
Good breaks.
Yeah,
good breaks.
Yeah, jeesh. It's a new word Brenden created this morning.
Yep. You didn't say another word that we would have to hit the special button that we learned about in that special meeting we had.
I'm a professional, Justin.
Yeah, you just said geesh. $850,000.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of money, but it's not surprising.
A lot of rich Star Wars nerds out there.
Yeah, that's not surprising. It's like there are Star Wars buffs out there who probably now. Granted, I'm not sure I'd pay more than Justin, for that much money, you could be on like Richard Branson's like next flight to like outer space.
Right,
so I think I'd rather like go to outer space with that kind of money than buy C-3PO's head, and I love Star Wars. So I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Let's think about this from a Titanic perspective. Titanic, as you have mentioned, is your favorite movie.
One of.
Movie you've seen the most?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yes. Okay, so it's your favorite movie. All right, let's just start out. It's your favorite movie. It's okay. What if I said now everybody thinks that Rose and Jack were on a door. It wasn't a door. It was a piece of siding from inside of the ballroom. It was like, so they're on the door. It's like, it's not a door. It's a piece of siding. But what if like that came up? Would you spend an amount of money that would hurt? That would hurt the old bank account, and like you would maybe have to spend some significant years in debt for that piece of. Is that the most famous thing from Titanic that you could actually have inside a house? Can't say like the lifeboat, none of the lifeboats or anything like that. What would be like the most significant thing?
Yeah, probably that. I've heard that like there are some like just I've seen like the most famous things that come out of it, like menus at the restaurant that were paper that survived, that had like the whole like weekend kind of itinerary for like breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
I saw like recently that went at Sotheby's for like $500,000. It was a piece of paper, Justin, that literally just was in a book that they pulled out from under the ocean, which is incredible. But yeah, there's nothing from Titanic where I would nerd out and be like, I need to have it, if that makes sense. Now, if there was something,
What if I get you like a deck chair,
like
where the band was playing on?
Yeah, even still, I love the movie, but that's not quite something. Like, if you were going to ask me something to, like, nerd out about, it'd be like, how much would I pay for, like, Jon Snow's sword in Game of Thrones? Like, that would be something. Like, they have a replica on Amazon. It's like $400, and I've been like,
What if it was the real one? The real one right there.
Yeah, I'd probably put in a bid for a couple $1,000.
They've got the bat.
Now, I don't have much more than that to give, Justin.
They got a Batman mask from 1989, $20K. $20K up for grabs for 1989, which is my Batman.
Which is Michael Keaton Batman.
My Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I'm curious what they they even have some Game of Thrones stuff on this website too, Justin. You might
I've lost Brenden for the whole show. It's all right, though. Aaron Fincher's going to be joining us. We got the RCM mailbag. Hour 3 coming up next, 620 Rip City Radio. It is 8 a.m. on a Thursday morning. Justin Myers with you. The Portland Trail Blazers get a win last night at Moda Center. They beat the Atlanta Hawks 106-102. The Atlanta Hawks did get 40 points from DeJounte Murray, but the combined 69 points from DeAndre Ayton and Anthony Simons led the way for the Blazers. DeAndre Ayton also brought in 19 boards. The Oregon Ducks will face the UCLA Bruins in the Pac-12 tournament later on this afternoon. Tip time approximately 2:30. UCLA ended Oregon State's season 69-57 yesterday afternoon in the first round of the Pac-12 tournament. Oregonian reports that Wayne Tinkle will be back as the head basketball coach of the Oregon State Beavers. Joining us in approximately 20 minutes, Aaron Fentress joins the big show. We have got the RCM mailbag, more NFL news and notes from free agency. And I've lost Brenden to the movie prop auction site. Hour 3 starts right now at 620 Rip City Radio. All right, welcome to hour number 3 of Rip City Mornings. The sun is shining outside. That's a good sign. Also, another good sign, Aaron Fentress is going to be joining the show. Get his thoughts on kind of where the Blazers go from here. DeAndre Ayton's is really putting together a pretty nice month of March so far. Now that, the snow has melted. And I saw DeAndre Ayton after the game. And I understand why, if you don't live here, why you would see starting NBA center snowed in does not make game. I could see why if that was anywhere else in the NBA and not here where we were all kind of living through it, we would all make jokes, right? I can see why you would make some jokes about what a starting center in the NBA did not make it to an NBA basketball game because of snow. But again, we were here. We know exactly what happens to this city when the snow and the ice hits. We know exactly what happens to cars that are not, let's say, capable of all-terrain. But really, it's been like since that snow, DeAndre has been putting up some pretty good numbers because it was a combination, right? Wasn't it? Wasn't there a thing like he went out and he said, "No doubt, I'm a max player." He said that. DeAndre Ayton came out, and by the way, the people that want to make fun of that, like, what would you rather him do? And I'm probably not talking to Blazer fans now, but this is where I do get so frustrated with the reactionary world that we live in, and I know I'm a part of it. I got it. I'm in the belly of the beast here, all right? But the reactionary, like, well, DeAndre Ayton said he's no doubt he's a max player. Laugh, laugh, laugh. Chandler Parsons on his FanDuel show. Laugh, laugh, laugh. What would people say if, let's just imagine this for a moment. What would you say if an NBA player came out and said, guys, I'm going to be clear. I'm going to be open and honest with you. As a former number 1 overall pick, I'm clearly not a max person, and I'm a middle of the road salary guy. That's just about what this guy lacks. Drive. He is complacent. He's not competitive. I don't like the mindset. I could do like the whole first take thing. Stephen A., I don't like the mindset. Right? We would all say that. At least DeAndre Ayton came out and said, like, yeah, I'm a max player. Problem was he said he was a max player, and then he got iced into his driveway, like the same week. Tough timing on that one. But since all the jokes were made about, DeAndre Ayton believes he's a max player, DeAndre Ayton can't get out of his driveway. When healthy, DeAndre Ayton's a double-double machine. It's a double-double machine. Not only that, but like significant double-doubles, 25 and 15. What was it last night? What did he go for last night? It's like 33 and 18, I think, last night. Probably should have had the Blazers box score not clicked out of my tabs. I got too many tabs. I had too many tabs going.
I just love to look at.
Did you see the NSYNC reunited yesterday?
I did, and
I saw
Travis,
tab's up there.
I saw Travis Kelce was there.
Travis Kelce was there without Taylor.
Oh. Yeah.
She's on tour. She's working.
Actually, she's not on tour right now, which is even more interesting. But I don't think I think maybe she's not JT fan.
No, that's not possible.
You don't think that? I don't know, right?
She's right in the wheelhouse of when NSYNC was the biggest.
That would be
the
an
biggest
awesome
thing in the world.
question for someone to ask her. Like, did you grow up liking NSYNC?
Had to have.
You would think
Had
so,
to have.
right? Anyway, but back to DeAndre Ayton. Justin, I love.
Yeah, thank you. Let's get back to DeAndre Ayton.
I love to look at
Yeah, 33 and 19.
Yeah, I love to look at specific stats. So, like how in his last 5 games, Justin, and tell me if this is good. He's averaging 25 points, 16 rebounds.
Boom.
In his last 5 games.
In a situation, I mentioned this earlier in the show,
and shooting 64%.
but in a situation where I don't know if I would agree with it, but we would all understand. It's like, hey, dude, I'm on cruise control, right? I'm going to be, where is he from? He's from the Bahamas, right? I think he's from the Bahamas. Like, dude, I'm going to the Bahamas in a month, right? I'm going to be on a beach because this season's going nowhere. Like, he could be completely on cruise control, making $70 million. But no, he's grinding it out on a Wednesday, grabbing 19 boards against the Atlanta Hawks. But that's the last 5 games. Let's look back at really, like, other than he had a clunker of a game against Minnesota, which I think was the game he got hurt. He only played 20 minutes, left, and then tried to come back, but like 22 and 10, 26 and 19, 30 and 19, 22 and 15, 33 and 19, 22 and 16 back in February against the Timberwolves, 18 and 17. And then that was all coming off of the injury. So I saw the comments he made last night. I think I saw it on X. I think it was Orlando Sanchez had the clip where he's basically like, yeah, I want to thank my haters. He did the I want to thank the haters, which I always kind of laugh at. But you know what? If that's motivating this, good. Because he threw out, I'm clearly a max player, and then got snowed into his house, and a lot of people made some jokes. And since then, he's been putting up monster numbers when healthy. 17, 16, 19. These are rebounds I'm talking about. Because, again, here's the other part of this, where I think this is a good sign moving forward. And I'm not just here to carry DeAndre Ayton's water. I'm just saying, in a season where things are not going all that great, a bit of a silver lining is I think the Blazers have got something to build around in the front court. Now, who knows? Like, the Blazers and Nurkic, that ship sailed. It wasn't working. Nurk had to go. DeAndre Ayton comes in. It wasn't working for Phoenix either with DeAndre Ayton. The organization, we're not getting along. And he has come in here, and especially since the trade deadline and really since coming back from injury, he doesn't need to be grabbing 19 boards a game. He doesn't need to be grabbing 17 boards, 15 boards. He could sit there and say, listen, I need to get mine. I get X amount of post-ups and ISOs per game. And he could be dropping in 25 to 30 points a game and then just cruise controlling on defense. And I don't think anyone would mind because the Blazers have got bigger fish to fry. But he hasn't, which I think is a good sign. And remember, like, the reports that were out there of like, oh, he was late to meetings, tardy, a bit disgruntled. Seems to be just fine. Seems to be working out just fine. But yeah, it's always funny. Like, oh, DeAndre Ayton thinks he's a max player. Like, what's he supposed to say? Like, just imagine the headlines or the tweets or the it's called the Chiron, but like the graphic up on ESPN. If like somebody like DeAndre Ayton came and said, yeah, I'm not a max player. I mean, I'm good, but I'm not a max player. I'm a middle of the road guy. Probably, a nice mid-level exception is probably where I'm at. I was like, this guy's non-competitive. It's complacent. I don't like the mindset here. Yeah, he believes in himself. Believes he should be a max player. And I don't know if he's there yet. But I'll tell you right now, he's the best player for the Portland Trailblazers. And I don't know if it's really all that close. I know, well, I shouldn't say that. Anthony Simons and DeAndre Ayton are Portland's two best players right now. You could make the case for Brogdon when healthy, but Brogdon's not healthy. When Brogdon is healthy, he's right in the mix, but he's not healthy. So nice win for the Blazers last night. Nice day for DeAndre Ayton. I want to see, and I know we're never going to get it, but man, if we could get the last week of the season, if we could get the last week or 2 weeks of the season with the significant, like Robert Williams clearly isn't coming back because he has reconstructive surgery on his knee, but you could get Shaden back. Scoot. I don't know about Malcolm Brogdon's elbow. I don't know how much of this is precautionary or just, making sure you take your time. But if you could get all these pieces back, could you imagine the Blazers playing the last 2 weeks with the majority of the guys that were supposed to be brought in that we didn't all think they were going to be making a run to the Western Conference Finals, but we thought it was going to be competitive and fun.
And I think this team, remember that stretch, Justin, when we said when the Blazers were really bad and DeAndre Ayton was hurt, and we're like without and it was that was like the famous, I think it was the 60-point loss to the Thunder or something like that, something just.
Ooh. I think it was 62.
Yeah, something just woozy, a woozy doozy. But to that point, like, I know we didn't get to see him this year. I know he fit into the easy category of another injury for him. Justin, if they had Robert Williams this year and he was healthy, I understand he's not a superstar. This team would probably be 5 to 10 wins better. Like, I think he is decently good when he's healthy. Problem is that's not always all the time.
Here's the deal. Small sample size. Did I say small samples? Small sample size. But last 8 games, they're playing 500. They're playing 500. There was a point, and I know it's Justin, 500. There was a time where we had the discussion, is this the worst team in the NBA? Because
the worst Blazer team ever. We went back and looked.
Yeah, maybe it's one of the worst Blazer teams of all time.
Thankfully, they won more than 17.
When DeAndre Ayton is healthy, this team is significantly better. That's why I think DeAndre Ayton's their best player. When he is healthy, this is a different team. When he's out, and when Anthony Simons is healthy, they're getting blown out. It's not a knock against Anthony Simons. It's just that DeAndre Ayton's kind of a game changer. When he's healthy and when he's motivated, and he seems to be doing both, they're 4-4 their last 8 games. They got the Knicks. They got the Knicks tonight. And they got the Pelicans this weekend. It's on the road in New Orleans. Those are going to be 2 tough games, but the last 8 games, 4-4. We'll take 500 ball for where this team has been. Give me the last 2 weeks of everybody healthy. It's still possible without Robert Williams. It's still possible, right? It could happen.
Possible to what?
Have 2 weeks of decently healthy Blazer basketball.
Yeah, totally.
Get Brogdon back, get Shaden back, get Jeremy Grant. What is it, a quad? Is that what he's got? I don't know. Seems to be popping up left and right. All right. Coming up next, we've got Aaron Fentress. We'll talk some Blazers with him. We'll talk some NFL with him. Clearly, he's got to be on board with me that Russell Wilson's going to be MVP next year and take the Steelers to the Super Bowl. So we'll talk with Aaron Fentress next, 620 Rip City Radio. All right, joining us now, friend of the program from the Oregonian. He's on my my X Twitter feed a lot. I think the algorithm knows that emotionally, this guy hits the button, gets me all fired up. Don't know how it's figured it out. It's reading my brain. It's reading your brain. But joining us now, Aaron Fentress back on the big show. Good morning, Fentress. How are we doing, bud?
Man, I've been sick
Oh,
for
no.
most of the last week. I know. It's crazy. Hit my house. My son missed 5 days of school. Hit me. I missed a couple Blazer games. So other than that, I'm doing all right. I'm in recovery. I'm in it, but it's just been a mess.
Well,
Anyway,
is it like the head cold or is it the stomach bug? Because I got both of them.
Yeah, I didn't get nauseous. I was only nauseous for a little bit. It was just the whole body just out and just coughing a lot and congestion. And I was literally not quite literally, but from Thursday night through Sunday early evening, I pretty much did not leave either the couch or the bed. It was crazy. And I barely ate. Like one day I only had like a little bit of watermelon and a piece of toast. And another day, the same thing. It was bad. I was just out. And every time I told myself I'm going to go move to do something else, my body was like, yeah, no, you're good right here. You just stay right here. So it was pretty wild.
Here's what's funny. There are some things out there that you and I just disagree on, and we have a whole lot of fun yapping back and forth. But, you and I are always been in agreement about the greatness that was Michael Jordan, and we have to sit here and fight all these kids who don't know and don't understand because they weren't there. But I don't know if it's weird of me. I think about the Jordan. I know they call it the flu game. It was food poisoning, whatever. I think about that every time I get sick and go, how on earth did he play in an NBA Finals game? I cannot get the mail right now. And Michael Jordan played in the NBA Finals and torched the Utah Jazz.
I had my own flu game, JV football, Grant High School. I was sick. I was puking, but I made it out there, and in my head I scored 5 touchdowns, but I think it was only 2. But yeah, it was that was my flu game. But here's the funny thing about it: like the day before, I was too sick to practice, but on game day, you find a way to play because you're motivated, and that mentally can override the sickness. That's basically what it is. Like we can overcome a lot of things mentally. And, Michael Jordan, yeah, he was sick, but when he turned on the competitiveness, he could go out there and to suppress that, as I proved, a 15-year-old Fentress proved back in 1984.
It's funny because, like, back in 1997, we had a lot of, not a lot, but we had a handful of guys on our football team that, yes, Monday and Tuesday, very, very hurt, injured, and then miraculously, like you said, maybe it was a mental thing, just turned it on mentally, and by Friday, we're fine. Maybe it had nothing to do with the fact that we got our behinds ran off on Mondays and Tuesdays, and that injury bug really hit the team then, and then mentally everybody got tough by Thursday walkthrough. But, yeah, that would happen every once in a while, too. I think it's a mental thing. You're right.
Yeah, of course.
All right, speaking of turn it on, let's talk some positive news for the Blazers. All right, we've been kind of doom and gloom for the Blazers this year. I mentioned this earlier. If I was Shark Tank, right? I'm investing in DeAndre Ayton. I like the DeAndre Ayton move from the beginning. And here's maybe the biggest reason, Fentress, why I like the DeAndre Ayton run that he has been on lately. I don't care if he is stat padding. I don't care if he is taking advantage of a team that's not winning and games that are maybe not as significant. I like the fact that he's doing it because he could be like, look, I'm making $70 million over the next couple of years. This team has won 19 games. I am on cruise control. I'm going to the Bahamas in 4 weeks, and I'm going to lay on the beach. He could be on cruise control. Instead, on a random Wednesday night, he's pulling in 19 boards. Even if he is stat padding, I don't care. I love it.
Can you hear me? I know you're talking about Ayton. You got me?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Yeah, he's definitely cranked it up, and it's so obvious how much more aggressive he's being offensively, and that was one of my things about him earlier. Now, early in the season, they were not running things specifically for him, and of course, he didn't have Ant to play off of, et cetera. And that's another thing too, is that those guys are getting a lot of time together now. But he's getting the ball, and like he's looking for his shot. He's looking to make moves. He's being aggressive in the paint. it's a completely different guy than most of the first part of the season. And this actually really started, like, he came back from 11 games he missed with the knee and then the ice skate situation. And then he had like a 3 or 4 games, kind of like 17 against somebody, I can't remember who. And then from that point on, aside from a couple duds here and there, he's been balling. He's been 19 and 12, 63% from the field, whereas the season before that, he was like around 12 and 10, shooting like in the low 50s. So definitely a different cat right now. And he said last night, he's aiming to put PDX on his back, and he wants to win, and he's going to prove that he's dominating. I mean, that's what he called himself. And right now, the last 5 games, so his last 5 games that he's finished, he's had 20 and 10, at least 20 and 10, and he had 12 and 6. Got hurt against Miami, so that game probably would have been a 20 and 10 as well. So that's where he is right now. And like you said, 19 rebounds last night. He had 19 the other night. Another 30-point performance in there as well. So yeah, if this is the guy that they end up getting consistently, and that's great. Like that's huge. And I've maintained from the get-go that if he doesn't work out, that's going to set the franchise back a bit, because how are you ever really going to get another talent like that in a big body? Now they do have a high draft pick. Who knows? Maybe they draft one this upcoming year, but hitting on him is imperative, especially with how much he's making, et cetera, et cetera. But here's the question. He's doing all this now when the season's over. He's done most of this. Now, Clint Capella's a good defender, but Toronto had no one really. But the question is, can he do this when it matters?
Yeah.
Can he be this guy when it matters? If he can, huge for the Blazers. Or does he revert back to, some days he's in, some days he's not? We'll see.
Aaron Fentress of the Oregonian joining us here on 620 Rip City Radio. Yeah, not only did he talk about putting PDX on his back, but Fentress, he thanked his haters. And you know what? I love it when guys thank the haters, right? I want to thank the haters, but I also do like the fact that he acknowledged, because all these guys, I don't listen to any of that. I don't listen to the noise. It's like, what are you talking about? You got burner accounts. You're on the internet all the time. Like, don't act like it. And so at least he acknowledged, keep hating, keep coming after me. So I don't care what the motivation is, whether it is the haters. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to create a hater burner account just to keep them in check. But yeah, I mean, there's always going to be those questions at this point in the season of a team that's not making the playoffs, right? Is he doing it because these games don't really matter and they aren't really significant? But it's better than not. We'll take that, right? I'm taking any kind of positivity right now.
Well, 100%. But I mean, here's the other thing too. If you go look at his game logs in Phoenix, he's had moments where he's been amazing. He's had moments in playoff series where he's been amazing, right? So this is not like he's doing something we've never seen DeAndre Ayton do before and doing it over a 5 or 6 game stretch. The question has always been, why does this guy disappear? And so we're in the phase now. We're like, oh, okay, this is what he can be. We're finally seeing it now in Portland. But is it going to continue? Not so much this year. Like, if he started mailing it in the last 2 weeks of the season, I mean, I imagine they're going to shut him down any minute anyway. I mean, everyone, as far as I'm concerned, everyone on the roster who's good is on injury watch right now, because this is about the time when you start, tanking. But I want to see this day one next season. I want him to start the season with a 2020, right? And establish himself as a guy who's going to be a force for the entire season, and that's where you can see the team when have an anchor like that.
Aaron Fentress of the Oregonian joining us here on 620 Rip City Radio. He's battling through it right now, and for the good of the show, and we appreciate that always. He's battling through the illness, like the champion. All right, let's talk some football real quick. The Russell Wilson thing has been fascinating. I have not been 100% Team Russ. I know something's changed, Fentress, in the last 48 hours. I'm all in. I think resurrection of his career. I think he's clearly going to be MVP candidate next year. I don't know what it was in the last 48 hours, but I am full on bought in for Team Russ. Look, you and I both covered him when he was in Seattle. He's a unique snowflake of a football player, right? In terms of the way he talks and the way he goes about doing things. Was doing the when his hand was hurt, he was doing the fake, running a fake offense on Sunday Night Football before the game. Russ is a unique dude, but when you look at the matchup with him, his personality, where he is with his career, the Pittsburgh Steelers, where they are on, you always give it to me straight. How is this going to work? Is it going to work out? Steelers going to go to the playoffs?
What was their record last year?
They were 9-8. 9-8 last year. Missed the playoffs.
I think everything maintains the same. I think he's worth a win or a half, 1.5, 2 win over Pickett. I think so. He had a pretty solid year this past year.
I know.
It wasn't great.
That's what I keep telling myself.
It was pretty solid. He bounced back. And I also believe that Tomlin will put him in a position to succeed as opposed to putting him in a position where he thinks he should be, which is Tom Brady, Peyton Manning carrying the team, which was a problem in Seattle because he thought he was more than he was. So I don't think Tomlin will play that mess. I think Tomlin will be like, here's what we want you to be, here's what we want you to do. And so I think that as long as he comes in accepting of that, right, that he's going to follow whatever the game plan is, and the game plan is not going to be Russell Wilson, you carry us, then yeah, I could definitely. I don't think he's done. I think what Denver's doing is kind of wild. It's like, I kind of get it. Come on, you're gonna eat that much money. He wasn't that bad. So this is partly personality too. And Peyton Manning Sean Payton just basically wanted to clean house and start over. But this is a good deal for Pittsburgh. You're getting a guy who's a better quarterback than what you have, and you're paying him $2 million?
1.2, Fentress. $1.2 million.
1.2. That's thievery. I think you can go out. I mean, I don't know what their cap situation is, but you're essentially saving at least 30-something million at quarterback. I assume you're going to spread that around the roster. So I would not be surprised if your Steelers made the playoffs.
Oh, I love it. Probably Super Bowl, probably MVP for us. I'm with it. But I mean, no, but here's what's I was talking about this earlier in the week. Because Fentress, you look at Russell Wilson, this is one of the most unique situations. Now, maybe I'm missing something. You've watched a ton of NFL. Maybe I'm missing something, but it's one of the most unique situations where he was a certified Hall of Famer in Seattle. He was on his way to gold jacket status in Canton. I still believe he's the best player in Seattle Seahawks history. He made 9 Pro Bowls, won a Super Bowl. Obviously, there's running game, defense, all that stuff. But he was
right.
a superstar in the league, and without significant injury, because he missed 4 games with a broken finger is all he's ever had. Completely fell off the map to where there were even people saying, like, could he be a starter in the league this year? That's the most fascinating career arc, because usually when quarterbacks fall off the cliff, it's usually because of injury. And there was no injury. He just went to a situation in Denver where it didn't work.
Well, yeah, he left the guy who put him in a position to succeed.
Yeah.
So he was a 3rd-round pick for a reason. There were deficiencies there, okay? And Pete Carroll tapped into his strengths and used the running game to enhance his strengths. And he had an amazing career going. But then it went to his head, and he thought he should be the premier focal point of the offense and allowed to cut loose and cook, so to speak. That's what he wanted. And Pete Carroll never believed necessarily that was the best way to use him. And a lot of fans thought Pete Carroll was crazy and old, but Pete Carroll knew what he was doing. And I argued this so many times with people during that time. Like, I've always called him an elite-level game manager. Game manager is not a bad thing.
No.
Like, Joe Montana was an elite-level game manager. Joe Montana was not a guy you stick out there and have him throw 50 times. That wasn't necessarily the strength. It doesn't mean that if you're down, and he has some great quarterbacks. Well, he did that. But if you did that the entire season, would that be best use of him? Not necessarily. But the point is, if you can maximize your guy's efficiency and use the running game to do so with like Russell Wilson, you make him better. But if you take it away, I figure they let him cook. Remember, for 5 games he was cooking, and all of a sudden the rest of the league adjusted and started kicking the crap out of him. Remember that?
Yep.
You're not going to run the football? You're going to put this little 5'10" guy in the pocket? Okay, here we come. Bam, 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 bam. And then everything fell to pieces. So he goes to Denver. Now he's going in there thinking, I'm let it ride. I'm the guy. They're going to let me be the guy, do something I'm not really capable of doing, only in my own head. And it blew up. And he was doing it with a guy who probably wasn't qualified to really be a head coach. So that's why it all fell apart. You had the wrong type of quarterback trying to do things he shouldn't be trying to do with a coach. Probably didn't always put him in the best situation, and it blew up in his face. And so now he's going to go to a situation where I think Pittsburgh's going to reel that in and get back to using him the way he should be used.
Aaron Fentress of the Oregonian joining us here on 620 Rip City Radio. All right, Fentress, we got about 2.5 minutes, so let's fix NIL. Huh? We can do it in 2.5 minutes, right?
Oh,
That's been all over the internet. I saw you gotten in some spats. You've gotten some replies. The Nick Saban thing is fascinating because I don't think his message is wrong. I don't know if he's the guy maybe to deliver the message, but regardless, when you look at kind of where we were before, an imperfect system, but a system that worked, to where we are now, to where there are some doom and gloomers. I think there's maybe a place in the middle. If you were college football czar, even though you cover college football, but clearly you don't like it because you keep wanting to make it the NFL. But if you were college football czar, how do you fix this NIL thing? Or is it not a worry and this is much ado about nothing?
I don't even think it's difficult. You just have to reset the parameters of the thing. You can't have NIL and the transfer portal the way it is at the same time. You just can't. It's just absolute chaos. You're dealing with 18, 19, 20-year-olds. The egos are massive, and now you're talking about massive money, which means you're bringing families into it, and it just becomes chaos, and everyone wants their piece of the pie. And that's just human nature. There's no way that's not going to happen, right? Everyone's going to want to try and maximize how much money they can get, and that's going to always supersede their allegiance to a university or even their teammates, right? And that makes sense because if I can make $800,000 there or $300,000 there, well, thanks for recruiting me, $300,000 team, but I'm going to go make the $8K, right?
Yes.
$800K. There's no okay. So what you need to do is you need to reel that stuff in with certain parameters that lock players into, contracts basically. I mean, that just has to be like if I'm going to give you $1.5 million to come play for me, are locked into a contract for at least or 3 years, and then by doing that, now a player has to think about their decision more, but at the same time, they're also locked into a certain amount of money. Right?
Yeah, I'm surprised that some booster hasn't pulled that off yet. You know what I mean? To come in and say, hey, we've got your NIL deal right here, but there is a contract, and if you transfer, you have to pay it back. Because some kids are stupid, right? Some kid will sign a dumb deal to be able to get a bunch of money in the hand right now, only to have to go to court and maybe have to pay it back. I'm surprised that some booster hasn't pulled that off yet.
Okay, but you can do things like you can have protected lists where a team can protect a certain amount. So here's the bottom line for me: the kid transferring because they're not playing has always been a thing, but you had to sit out the year, right? Yeah. So for that kid, if you're a fourth string wide receiver at Oregon, right, why should you be held hostage, right? You should be able to transfer somewhere and play, regardless of money. But if you are a premier part of our team, and I've invested in you financially, and I've developed you, and I've worked my program where we're a huge part of it, I should have some assurances that you're just not going to just fail.
So college franchise tag? Is that like the college franchise tag?
Yeah. You have a protected list. And so we just had an era where when you signed the college scholarship, you knew you were locked in for at least 2 years. Well, you had to sit out if you transferred, right? So It's not like this is something that's unheard of, but it's got to drive these coaches nuts. How do you build a program when you don't know year to year who's going to decide they want to leave and who's like? Now, on the other hand, you get to steal other teams' players as well, but that just adds to the chaos, and it's also going to create even obviously stronger hierarchy because they're going to be able to do like Oregon. Like people keep bragging about the recruiting. Like it's just hilarious. People talk about Oregon's recruiting. It's like they're not recruiting anymore. They're literally just buying players, and that's fine. let's not pretend it's recruiting. There's some recruiting going in, but at the end of the day, I don't think there's very many players at Oregon who are taking less money to come to Oregon than they could have gotten from another program. So you're just buying players, but at the same time, you need to be able to buy some kind of security as well. Now, people always throw out coaches can leave. This is so stupid. Like there's no comparison between the coach situation and the player situation. They're not the same thing. But that said, no player should want to leave a program they signed with in the first place unless things are going poorly for them. If things are going poorly, usually you're going to have a way to get out. The coach is like, well, I'm not going to play you anyway, and I'm definitely not going to pay you that kind of money, so boom, you can transfer. If you're an integral part of the team, that coach is invested in you, and everything's working out for you, and you just say, well, I just want to test the waters just because of my ego, then that creates just problems. I don't know how fans are going to really – it's going to hurt. Like, let's go back in time. What if LaMichael James did this? That's what 2011, and bailed and left for UCLA. What if Mariota did this? Now, I'm a transfer unless you pay me such and such, and he left for UW. Like, just think about some of the greatest players in pro history had they done that, and that's what we're across the country right now. It would hurt a little.
I think we lost him. Anyways, we were fighting it.
Anyway.
All right, we were fighting fighting a bad connection, Fentress.
Okay.
You were cooking though, and
Sorry,
you were cooking. We got a good chunk of it though. Hey, Fentress, get better. Fluids. I don't know if you get like the Vicks Vapor Rub or the Robitussin. Get all the good stuff. Get some Flintstone vitamins, and we'll talk to you soon, bud.
All right, buddy. Later.
There you go. Yeah, we're fighting that phone for a while. Part of me wants to do a whole grumpy old man rant right now, like how cell phones still doing this. We're still doing this with cell phones. We got towers everywhere. But anyways, we don't have time for that because we got to get to the mailbag next. 620 Rip City Radio. All right, let's quickly wrap up the big show. Get you ready to enjoy what looks to be a very pleasant Thursday. I know I'm excited. What are we doing? Oh, mailbag. Let's go. Fire it up. Here we go. I was like, hey, let's not waste any time. And then my mind just went blank. I
Yeah.
got so excited about the sunshine.
Yeah.
I'm pumped up to do some stuff outside today.
Yeah. What do you got on the docket?
Well, I got a workout planned, which part of it's going to be a little outside run. And then I might mow the lawn today. I'm also working on a secret project that I can't talk about. Because one particular person may be listening that needs to be a surprise for. But I got a secret project on the way as well. But I might mow the lawn today. I got to pick up a lot of dog poop in the backyard. I get lazy when it rains. It's like crash go, and then it's like sun comes out, want to mow the lawn. I got to pick up a lot of dog poop.
No,
That might be part of my day today.
yeah, no, that's understandable, especially with the sunshine coming out. I don't miss the days of when I was a teenager and we had a lawn that needed to be mowed.
It's so much better for Crash that he has a backyard. And when I first bought my house, I was like, we lived in an apartment. I would go and I would pick up his poop every day, every time, because we'd go for a walk.
Yep.
And I'm not going to, by the way, Northwest Portland, there's way too much dog poop. But
I think that's everywhere, Justin. I mean, you'd think
there
in
are
the
certain
days.
parts of town, though, where it's a little more prominent.
Well, it's true, but you'd think in the days of Ring cameras and how everything is cameraed everywhere,
And the
that
fact
people
that,
wouldn't leave dog poo out.
and
but
the
they
fact
still
that
do.
there are bags available
everywhere.
a lot of places. Anywho, but I was like, when I first bought my house, I was like, well, I mean, I'll just do like I did with an apartment. Again, I'll just go and I'll do one at a time, and I'll just pick it up. That lasted about a week. And I was like, nah, just letting the big guy go out back. Come back in when you're ready.
Yeah. No.
So now, time to pay the piper or the pooper, and I gotta pick up some dog poop.
Yeah. No, I
because I
hear
gotta
you.
mow the yard.
Yeah. No, I hear you for sure. For sure. Let's go ahead and I'm not sure how many we'll get into. Maybe just the one
Yeah,
today.
maybe.
But Justin, where are you with phone numbers? Are you a person who, if you lost your
worst.
contacts, you would
I'm in so much
be
trouble.
in trouble, or do you at least remember like mom and dad, your wife? Like for me, I can remember the most important 5 people in my circle's phone numbers: mom, dad, best friend, sister, brother,
I just
grandma,
did it.
grandpa.
I just did it in my head. I know Kelly's phone number.
That's good. That's
I
important.
have to think of.
Yeah.
I have a list of athletes. That's how I remember it.
Really?
So there are certain athletes that I know are like, so that I do not. I don't think I could get my parents.
They well, at least in your defense, I'll say that, Justin, from as young as I can remember. Well, yeah, mom's changed her phone number once, but
Okay, wait,
dad's,
no, I
dad's had the same cell phone number since I was 5.
and my parents.
So that helps.
And my parents were on the same plan. So one ends with the 0, the other ends with a 1. Other than that,
Nice.
it's the same number.
Yeah.
I think I could do my parents and
Could you do your brother?
no.
Okay.
No chance.
That's like
No
your
chance.
brother that just lives
Any
down
of my
in Salem,
friends
right?
could not get a hold of you. Could not get a hold of Chad. Could not get a hold of anybody. But
It's true. I don't have your number
But-
memorized.
do I remember that my phone number growing up was 679-5516? Yeah. Do I know that my buddy Aaron lived at 679-4919? Yeah.
So you can still name your home number too.
And all of my friends.
Yeah. So like I could still
Well-
name my now defunct home number for sure.
But see,
5236.
in Winston, every phone number was 679. Every single one. So all you had to do was, and nobody did the area code back then. So all you had to remember was 4 numbers. And I remember, I know Troy's number. I know my buddy Aaron's number. I know my buddy Kellen's number. I know all of them.
Yeah, Troy's number's not the same anymore.
Not
I think that's safe to say.
that one. I don't know off the top of my head either. And it's probably a good reason. All right. That's going to do it for the big show. Thanks to Aaron Fentress. Thanks to producer Brenden. Thanks to all of you. Have a terrific Thursday. We got a fancy coffee Friday tomorrow morning. We'll talk to you then on 620 Rip City Radio.